Would you like something to drink?
Oh, that's so cute. Oh wow, that's important.
And we started doing more and more cabaret shows.
So your mind is like, boom here, that here, don't forget. Right?
Your recent play about Ukrainians.
Would you like me to pour you some juice?
Second character on the screen, it's your Baba.
Still, is it relevant today?
My show made people think and talk.
We can sing together.
There is a thought that the traditional theater has been pushed aside and the public is not interested in it anymore. But today we are going to talk to a Montreal playwright and an actor, Norman Nawrocki, who explains how new technologies have entered the life of the theater and why we actually need the theater today. Norman Nawrocki, an actor and musician born to Polish Ukrainian Canadian parents, has written and staged over 20 theater creations, authored 14 books of poetry and short fiction, and released over 60 albums of music. He came to Montreal from Vancouver in 1981 and created a band where he combined music, poetry, and cabaret, and played all over United States, Canada, and Europe.
The theater is just part of what I do all the time. It's part of my life. It's my I write stories, I write poems, I write books, I write novels, I write songs, and I write plays. Well, we grew up speaking English, but hearing Mama speak Ukrainian and Dad spoke Polish. So we didn't know. Pierogi, perehe, vareniki, perehe, pierogi. Then Ukrainian, I went to Ukrainian school here in Montreal, took some classes at the church and learned some Ukrainian for a while, but I don't practice it, so it's difficult to continue speaking.
In your play, the last play, I've seen like the second character on the screen, it's your Baba. You had a real Baba? You had Baba in your life?
Of course.
Yeah?
Yes.
His Ukrainian grandmother made lasting impression on Norman, and his sister, Vivian Nawrocki, played the role of their grandmother in his recent show, Run Nawrocki Run, Escape from Banff Prison.
We got her to wear what our Baba wore, the same kind of babushka. She always wore dark glasses because she had an eye operation. So we only knew her as somebody with dark glasses, always mysterious. And she had the necklaces and she had the long skirts and she had the sweater. You know, my Baba gave us a lot of good memories growing up, a lot of good memories. And we would sleep upstairs in the small room under a big perena, what do you call the feather stick?
Norman believes being an artist means to speak out, to be heard, as well as to please his viewers. He says his theater pieces usually comes naturally.
So for me as an artist, I love the freedom I have to express myself, to share stories, my stories I hear from other people, stories that have content, meaning, that have something to say. Of course, I'll play music that's, for fun, to dance and for listening pleasure, but I also play music that has songs with words that has a social message, and much like this play.
Specifically, Norman talked about his recent play Run Nawrocki Run, Escape from Banff Prison, about the unknown page of Canadian history. Banff town in Alberta remains one of the most popular tourist destinations in Canada. However, not many people realize that the Banff surroundings, trails, the bridges and roads were built by Ukrainians, being in the slave labor camps at the gunpoint. During the First World War, the government of Canada unjustifiably classified Ukrainians from Austria-Hungary as enemy aliens. And in 1914, thousands of people were interned by the Canadian government, which acted under the authority of the War Measures Act. Norman's story of the imprisonment of Ukrainian immigrants in one of the 24 camps across the country combines Ukrainian and Canadian history, as well as racism issues.
Some of the schools interested, and I've had one teacher in Montreal is very interested in bringing my play to her school that nobody knows about. Very, very few people know about it. And so many people wrote to me after they saw this, my play now, I had no idea. I had no idea. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making this, public, for bringing this to my attention. So for me as an artist, what's important is to speak the truth always. I'm always looking for the truth. There's, I can't lie about anything as an artist, but I have to find out a way to make whatever, to make my creativity engaging for other people, for the audience, for the reader, for the listener. And that's always a challenge, to come up with something new, fresh, different, exciting. I'm so thrilled that people really got it and appreciated all the work that I put into this.
There is a thought that the traditional theater has been pushed aside, less interesting nowadays because we have other media. What would you say about it?
Very, very true. Of course, the internet has changed people's way of looking at a culture in general. And now people expect to consume culture by clicking a button, by moving a mouse, by, touching the screen. And it's like, I don't like it. So they switch and they switch and they switch. And I'll watch this for 30 seconds and they have no way to concentrate. So they'll skip it and go on. And people take for granted that us artists work for free and that all the culture is supposed to be free. Traditional theater, unfortunately, has priced itself out of people's budgets. I try to make my theater accessible to people, which is why I put it on YouTube for free for that week.
Norman believes his series of sex education shows is one of his biggest accomplishments. It was about sexual violence, homophobia, and other issues.
And they were big shows. I would perform for 1,000 people, 2,000 people at a time in big, big venues. And many, many people said to me afterwards, don't stop, please don't stop, continue this work. It's so important. I'm a woman, I survived. My father raped me, my uncle raped me, men raped me. Don't stop, please continue with this work you're doing. So, and other people who were gay, lesbian, came to me and said, all my life I kept my identity a secret, but now I've seen this show, I'm going to tell my family tonight who I am. Thank you for giving me the courage to do this. That, that really touched me. So they're not available, but people can read about them online, that's for sure. They can read the reviews, they can read the testimonials from people who saw them, people who brought them. I reached so many people with such an important message, and women are still being battered and abused and murdered, and gay people are still being attacked. But my show made people think and talk. And I know that for a fact because they told me that. So I'm happy about that.
Actually, what is the most important thing in any person's life? What should not be forgotten for a minute?
Love. Of loving other people, loving yourself, taking care of ourselves and taking care of other people. Loving other people. I'm not talking in a romantic way. I'm talking in a caring way. To care for yourself and to care for each other. That's the most important thing.